I hate Sonic catchphrases. Because he doesn't have one. The Sonic the Hedgehog series is filled with iconic moments and one-liners that have stood the test of time in the Sonic community, whether they be called back to on multiple occasions, simply remembered in the moment, or brought back to the surface after falling into obscurity.
Let's do it to it.
Yes, Mainline Sonic, I do remember the 1993 non-canon Sonic spin-off show, but you really shouldn't. Despite all of these iconic lines, none of them really have the viability to be considered Sonic's catchphrase. Weirdly, except for one. This phrase has been etched so deeply into the series that it has become part of its identity. It has become part of Sonic's whole personality, being used in so much media that it's even found its way into the live-action films on multiple occasions. However, despite all of this, this phrase has never been said in any of the Sonic the Hedgehog video games. What line is that, you ask? Now you're close. Gotta go fast. Such an iconic phrase. It's been used so many times in Sonic marketing, media, and general content surrounding the character. So many people that aren't familiar with Sonic are at least somewhat familiar with this line, and most likely heavily associated with him. Despite this, the phrase has never been uttered by the most well-known version of the Hedgehog, the one from the video games. So, the question must be asked, why is this phrase so embedded into the identity of the Sonic franchise and Sonic as a character, despite the fact that it has never been truly a part of either? Well, actually, it's part of that first one. To find out, we must first take a look at where the phrase comes from. Flashback to 2003, where boy bands were still relevant and the GameCube was a laughingstock. The quote, "Year of Sonic" was upon us. Sega and Sonic Team were planning to go all in on as much Sonic media as possible, a new game to be released on all major platforms at the time, tons of spin-offs, re-releases of older games, a tie-in Happy Meal line with McDonald's, and the biggest piece of the puzzle, Sonic N for the N-Gage. You could play Sonic Advance while calling your non-existent girlfriend at the same time! That was a game changer! Oh, and there was a new television series called, Sonic X or something that might have been the worst Sonic show of all time, but what do I know? Sonic X was a Japanese-created animated show that had Sonic and friends being transported into an urban city on Earth and loosely adapted the stories of the Sonic Adventure games. When it came time to release the show in America, many changes were made, such as censoring many visual and audible gags that would be considered inappropriate for a young Western audience, making some extremely unnecessary changes like removing any and all text, and one of the most substantial changes, changing the show's opening, which is what we're focusing on today. In the original Japanese version, Sonic X's opening featured the song Sonic Drive, an upbeat anime-like rock song. When the rights were given to the dubbing company 4Kids to release Sonic X in America, they chose to change the intro to a short, simple song, Gotta Go Fast, a cheesy, high-octane, goofy track that I honestly don't hate. Is it better than Sonic Drive? Did the Chinese food that I had in Cleveland, Ohio look any good? Yes, actually it did, but I just forgot to turn off the flash. And no, it's not better than Sonic Drive. It's nothing crazy, but it's still fun. It really mentions the show's plot, it's a really catchy tune, and it gets one of the main points of Sonic across: going fast. Now, if you just get that speed or you gain that speed through momentum, that's up to you. It succeeds at what it strives to do. Now, did everyone else at the time agree with my personal stance? No. Sonic X's American release was panned by Sonic fans across the globe. Many hated it for the censorships it made, the new voices it introduced, and most of all, the cringe and annoying theme song. While X was enjoyed by young Sonic fans around the world, fans who have been around since the beginning despise this interpretation of the franchise, and the theme song was headlining this consensus. Hey, it's better than what Europe got. This phrase is repeated for the whole song, by the way. Due to this immense hatred, fans resorted to making fun of the show and the song itself online. Eventually, these rants and memes that people would make caught on in the mid-2000s. Around the same time, the series had reached a new low after the consistently low-quality titles released at the same time, and people outside the Sonic community were making fun of nearly everything related to the Sonic series. This became even more prominent in the mid-2010s when the series hit yet another low with the release of Sonic Lost World and Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric. Posts and memes making fun of Sonic were abundant, and a plethora of them used the phrase, mocking the theme song it hails from. Like this image. This will come back in like 2 minutes. When everything was building up in this bubble, around this time was when Gotta Go Fast began to claim its throne as the official Sonic catchphrase, and the bubble would burst. see why it became so intertwined with official media, let's take a look at the Sonic the Hedgehog Twitter account. Life takes a turn. Back in the early to mid-2000s, the Sonic Twitter account was mainly a hub for promoting new Sonic releases, video games, TV shows, and the like. That was until one fateful day, when a millennial took over the account. This was Aaron Weber, longtime Sonic fan and guy who marketed Sonic 4. Around 2015, Aaron was tasked with maintaining the Sonic Twitter account until one day, he stopped asking for approval from Sega of Japan to make posts and went wild. Tweet after tweet after tweet. He jokingly teased people on the website under the Sonic name and marketed the games through internet humor, including the "gotta go fast" phrase. And this blew up. Everyone was talking about it. Sonic was on the map again, all thanks to internet culture. Aaron would promote joke games like Big's Big Fishing Adventure 3. He'd collaborate with people who actively made fun of Sonic at the time. He'd play into memes in the Sonic community. Look, I told you to come back. Due to this immense popularity, Sega actually became lenient. They allowed Aaron to continue his grip on the Twitter account until his promotion in the 2020s, and I personally believe it was due to Aaron's choice to play into internet culture and the Sonic community that allowed fans like Tyson Hesse to go all out in works like Sonic Mega Drive, which skyrocketed his popularity to eventually work his way into redesigning Sonic's design in the live-action Sonic movie. It might have also further inclined Sega to want to work closer with fans, especially since this was likely around the time Sonic Mania, which was mainly developed by Sonic fan game developers, was entering production. On top of all that, they allowed more humor like what the Twitter account used to seep its way into more Sonic products. Meaning,
I'll fight it in court, but I don't think they're gonna accept "gotta go fast" as a medical condition.
Gotta go fast! Gotta go fast! Gotta go fast!
Bro, gotta go fast!
Gotta go fast!
the phrase was everywhere. Sonic the Hedgehog and Gotta Go Fast had officially become synonymous. With Gotta Go Fast becoming the phrase that describes the Sonic brand, he has still never said it in a proper video game, which is extremely fascinating. He said it in the movies, 2 shows, a LEGO collaboration, but never in an official video game. Sonic Forces, there was a t-shirt of a Sonic meme that is heavily intertwined with the phrase, but it's only used in the description of the shirt on store pages, never in the game. Team Sonic Racing, the game where Tails says, "Who's your daddy?" Nope, phrase was never used. Sonic Frontiers? Okay, well, maybe it's a good thing Sonic didn't say it there. Even after all these years of the reign of Gotta Go Fast, the mainline Sonic has still never said this phrase. Ever. And it makes me wonder, why? Is there a mandate? Has nobody cared? Honestly, it doesn't matter. I don't want to hear deep Sonic Frontiers Sonic cracking internet jokes.
Oh yeah, gotta go fast, baby. Gotta become a Sigma. I'm never saying that again in that voice.
It's utterly shocking to me how this one throwaway line in a theme song that some 20-somethings in the 2000s thought sounded annoying became the de facto phrase for the entire franchise, despite never being uttered by the titular character. I can only imagine how Sonic fans from that time would have reacted, knowing how far this phrase would go in the coming decades. Out of the many lines Sonic has said throughout the years that are much more worthy of being considered catchphrases, it's shocking that this is the one that caught on. This entire story shows that the internet and the communities on it have power. When something gets huge on the internet, it's almost inevitable to at least somewhat change whatever it's based on. Whether it's something as major as the design for a live-action movie, or it's some stupid catchphrase. That's right, Jim Carrey may have actually referenced a Gregzilla video in the second Sonic movie. Will Sonic ever say this phrase in a mainline installment? Maybe. Who knows? Until then, Gotta Go Fast will remain as Sonic's unspoken catchphrase.
Actually, Sonic Prime takes place in the video game timeline, and Sonic says it in the show.
Go away!